It's no secret Tech has grown significantly since its establishment in 1923. With more than 35,000 students, 240 fields of study, 12 colleges, 13 residence halls, and over 1,800 acres of campus, it's hard to imagine campus not being the bustling hub of activity that it is today. So what was it like to be a student at Tech during a slower, simpler time? Like, say, the late 50s, early 60s? We asked students just that.
I think it must have been a simpler time. I'm sure application process and taking tests to get here must have been a lot easier.
50s, 60s, 8,000, 9,000.
Definitely conservative.
I mean, conservative, definitely.
Definitely not, just because, I mean, it's pretty typical for a college kid to make it back to their dorm like at 6 in the morning.
Probably not so much, no. Most of the girls I know actually stay out later than the guys I know, so I don't think that would go over very well. It involved a lot more time at the library than anybody spends there now.
So that's what current students thought Tech was like, but let's hear from somebody who actually attended Tech during that time.
Well, I think there were about 8 to 9,000 students when I enrolled. Enrollment was increasing each year. Lubbock was probably around 150,000. The campus landscape was, people who come back like for homecoming a couple of weeks ago and hadn't been back in a while get lost. I mean, it's just changed completely. When I was on campus, girls had to wear skirts. They were not allowed to wear shorts, absolutely not shorts, and certainly not sportswear, there wasn't any particular restriction on the guys, I don't think, but dress was a little bit more conservative perhaps in those days. Styles were a little bit more conservative. Alcohol was not as prevalent in my day as it is today. For instance, I mentioned I pledged a fraternity. Well, I would say we had a pledge class of about 45, and maybe 4 or 5 drank. It's just the opposite today. Tech has always been a conservative institution, and I remarked to my students today that during the Vietnam War, the largest protest that I saw involved about 100 students around Memorial Circle, but there were 200 other students that were protesting them. It's just not been a hotbed of liberalism, but there obviously social awareness, social conscience have emerged. I think it's not probably as conservative a campus today as it was then, but it's still fairly conservative, I think. There were no blacks when I enrolled in Tech. There were Hispanics. I think the first black student, and I could be wrong about this, he was an athlete. And of course, that helped. But, of course, all that has changed. I think students probably technically are much better oriented to the technical society of the world than we were. We were just starting to use computers when I was a student. And computers were big, huge, cumbersome things, In almost every category, this is a much better place than it was in the 50s. And it was a good place in the 50s. I mean, I got a good quality education.
After hearing that, we asked our 2 students if they'd rather be a student back then or now.
Definitely now. Why? Just because I like having a laptop. I like, having ease of access to information, and
Oh, now, definitely. No question about it. Because there's so many more opportunities now than Tech had then.
So, which era would you choose? For MCTV, I'm Sarah Schmidt.